I hate making predictions because human predictions are so fallible. And I may not live. I'm 76. I may not live long enough to see this. But I know that within a short time, you, a young man, will see the hand of God punishing the world around you. And you included, because you're part of the world. And your family too.
Now here is an issue that I would like to raise. And that's that there seems like, and you've alluded to this already in our conversations, that there is no escape. There's no place in the world that I can, let's say, move to and escape all the problems.
You can now, there are several communities one in Idaho, one in Kansas City, St. Joseph's, Kansas, and in various other places, and in Canada there are a few mentioned to me now and again in conversations. But they won't save you. They won't save anybody.
So it's not possible to entirely freeze out the world.
No. If you go down to the Pampas in Argentina, if you travel to the Gobi Desert, if you go anywhere, it's going to come after you because the whole world is entrailed in it. And then, as far as we know, the best judgment is that the chastisement is going to affect everybody, whether you live in the middle of the Gobi Desert, or in Kathmandu, Nepal, or on the Pampas of Argentina, or hide beneath the ocean in a bubble. It will still get to you. Now,
isn't there an unfairness here? Because, let's say, many families and good priests have done their best and led virtuous lives.
I know.
And yet they're going to suffer from this that was caused, let's say, by the immorality of other people.
Sure, but remember when Christ was on his way to Calvary and the women were crying over him, crying over his pains and his torture. And he said, don't cry for me, because I'm just the green wood. You're the dry. Cry for yourselves and your children. There's a law there which is funny. For instance, if you and I get married, and if you are a lush, a woman who's a drunk, and I'm a cocaine addict, and you conceive, the baby is going to be alcoholic probably, and is going to have AIDS, if I have AIDS, or one of us have AIDS. Why doesn't God save the baby? Punish us, but why not? He doesn't save the baby. And if when Adam and Eve ate that apple or whatever they ate, why did he punish me? I didn't eat the apple. He has this law. And as the Bible says, the fathers ate sour grapes, but the children's teeth are blunt. In other words, the children are punished for what the fathers did. And that's God's law.
So God's law, and this is a theme too that emerged from Windswept House, is that there is salvation through suffering.
That's right. There's salvation through suffering, but there will be suffering caused by the sins of others. And the typical example is the baby who was aborted by its mother or its father. Well, it did nothing to merit such awful torture. But yet it's punished. Why did God allow it? Why didn't he punish the parents? He doesn't. It's the baby. He punishes the parents later. But the baby suffers the dire pains of having an evil father and an evil mother. Similarly, war, the amount of people who were killed in the last war, in the Second World War, that had no doing with it, and they had nothing to do with it at all. That's God's law. And it started with Adam and Eve. And by the way, we can all have a conversation with Adam and Eve later on. By the way, the church never called them Saint Adam or Saint Eve. Have you ever noticed that? Such as Saint Abraham is a saint, and David is a saint, and Isaiah is a saint, and Jeremiah is a saint, but Adam and Eve are never described as saints. Ever. Because I think we have a bone, a crow to pluck with them, or a bone to pick with them. Because they did let us down. And because they did what they did, you and I are in our present quandary today. The possibility of going to hell. We wouldn't be here if it weren't for them. So don't grumble at me if it's unfair. Of course it's unfair, but you see, when you get to that region of unfairness, we have no rights. God is God.
And maybe he's trying to tell us that to build an earthly paradise just isn't possible.
He never destined it. He never wanted it. And Christ himself said to the apostles in that Last Supper, he said, but now it's the hour of the prince of this world and the hours of the powers of darkness, but he has nothing on me. He has no power over me. It's totally independent of the world and of the prince of this world. And that's why it's grieving. It's very grievous. And it grieves me an awful lot to find people talking about building a paradise and building a habitat for men and women and establishing universal fraternity and brotherhood. That's fine and dandy if you want to do that politically, but that's not the work of salvation.